this webinar is about converting your clients before they get on the phone, right? So the reason I'm running this webinar is because, for the fourth time, is because I used to hate discovery calls. I absolutely used to detest them because I used to feel like they were slimy, that they were gross, that it was sleazy. And it was just really horrid because I felt like, and this is when I first started out, that I kind of had to con people onto the calls because that's what seemed like what everyone else was doing. It felt like people were offering like free coaching and stuff to get people on the phone, and then they would sell to them. And I felt like that was the only way forward. It really didn't sit well with me. And I'm going to be honest with you, I did it that way a couple of times, and I came off the phone and I felt really horrible. I felt gross. I felt like that pushy salesperson. And I've had this problem. I used to work in recruitment for a good period of time. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19 years old, but for a solid period of that, I was working as well. And I worked in outside recruitment. I worked in internal recruitment, and it was just horrid because I would be calling people and I would be basically getting people telling me to off because they'd had so many people call them that day to ask them if they had anything that they need help with in terms of needing people for their business, if they have any spaces they needed filling, and they were sick and tired of receiving those phone calls. And so I had this kind of like response back of please go away, please go away. Now unfortunately that was to do with the training that I received at the time. And the thing that I want to say to you is if your calls feel gross, if you feel like people are saying that I can't afford it, if they're saying that they're not even wanting to get on the phone with you, it's not your fault. It's just that we don't get taught this stuff in schools, right? These are things that we need to learn. And I found a better way. Now my sales coach, Jessica Lorimer, she massively helped me with this because I had this huge fear, and the way she said it to me is selling is serving. Okay, you're helping somebody, and when you come from it in that direction, it makes it a whole lot easier. Now I'm not going to go into how to deal with a sales call today because it's not my place, that's not my bag. But what my bag is all in the art of persuasion. Now that even that saying will probably put the fear of God into a lot of people, like you're persuading people, you're persuading people. But again, it's about taking it from what Jess said to me. It's serving people. You're helping people make the best decision for them. And if you've got something that's truly going to help somebody, then surely telling people about it and helping people make the decision to buy is the best thing for them if they need your product. Now, this is the next thing I just want to say. I am a true believer that not everybody is meant for your product or service. Okay, that just really, really isn't true. There are people out there who need your help, but there are also people out there who are not made for your help, who are not made for your services, and that you really can't, and there's no point trying to sell to those people because A, they don't want to buy from you, and secondly, they may not have the problem that you're trying to solve. They might not want the things that you're going about, and the fact of the matter is some people will not like you. Okay, no, that's a horrid thing to say, but you're not made for everybody. So we have to recognize who our people are in order to make sure that we're selling ethically and that we are going to run a business feels really good. We need to identify who those people are. So I'm going to take you through a process now of how to persuade the right people in an ethical, non-sleazy, non-icky, within integrity way. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to finally start sharing my screen and show you some slides now. Just tell me you can see me in the corner of the screen and you can see the slides. I'm just keeping another eye on the phone to make sure that it's working. So get ready to finally have your mind blown. Finally, fingers crossed the internet sticks with us, and that we can do this. I'm just going to check. Tina and Petra. Oh, I'm so glad to have you guys on here. Yes, you inside. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Right, okay. So for those of you who are on here, this bit's going to bore you to stiff. I know that all of you on here know who I am. For those of you who are on the replay, may not. So to let you guys know who I am, I'm just going to move my face out of the way of the slides a second. My name is Jen, and I don't usually have these tech problems, but it just so happened that I did today. And I help people to position themselves as the most desired must-have option in the market. I typically work with coaches, consultants, experts, service-based businesses to help them really find clarity on their ideal client so that they can truly find out what it is that people want from them. Okay, what makes you truly, truly desirable? So this is me with my daughter Ellie. We live in Wales, in Cardiff, and I hate my internet provider, but there we go. And there's my fancy schmancy photo of me sitting, looking all posh. My photo shoots. They have to catch me off guard. They haven't got any pictures of me looking into the camera because every time I do, I put on my silly smile, like so. So they just said, get on with it. And I was having a chat to somebody at the time they took that photo, just so I didn't look like a donkey. But there we go, there you go. A little bit of an insight for those of you who do know me, didn't know that's what happens at my photo shoot. That's what it's all like. Right. So I am also a best-selling author of Expert on Arrivals, and I'm an award-winning speaker. And I always say this: I'm a petrified award-winning speaker. I get really scared of public speaking, but it's just I just deal with it. But it means I have a tendency to talk really fast and mess up my words. But it's just the thing. But what I can guarantee is amazing content and amazing value. Okay, so let's get ready to rock. So as I said at the very beginning, which nobody else actually heard because I was talking to myself for 15 minutes, but I do want to say that if you and Andrea want to say, and anyone else who joined me live either both times or last night, you are in the running already. Okay, so please don't worry if you can't. For those of you who've already given up your time, you will be getting the full replay so you can watch the whole thing. But your name is already in the hat if you've already previously attended. If this is your first time attending the live webinar, then you need to type in it to win it and stay for the whole duration. And I'll be getting you to type in it to win it again at the end of the webinar when I say to type it in. And that means you're going to be entered into the prize draw to win a one-to-one coaching session with me. Those of you who have already attended, however many times you've tried to attend this webinar, you will be entered in those many times to give you double the chance of winning, because you guys blinking deserve it, because my goodness, you've stuck with me through some tech crap. Where's Alessia Pandolfi when you need her? She's off swanning it off, having a holiday. Come back to me, Alessia, my tech help, my tech rescuer. So pop in the comments, I'm in it to win it, if you're here to stay for the duration of this webinar. Right, let's continue. All right, let's go. So I just want to get you to ask yourself a few questions, and you can either type in the comments if you have anything to say, or if you prefer, just take a mental note, right? When you put out a call to action for people to book calls with you, do you actually get anybody booking? Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to ask yourself. Should be a pretty simple one to answer. The next thing I want you to ask yourself is, are you getting a solid yes from the majority of the discovery calls that you run? Is it always like, yep, I'm ready, I'm good to go, let's do this? Okay, so is that happening? Do you feel like your market and ideal prospects really, truly desire and want or need what you are currently offering? So that's the last question I just want you to ask yourself. Do you really feel like that you're needed and wanted in the market? And it's fine if you are, just tell me in the comments. I know a few of my clients are on here. Hey, fab. Right. So you are in the right place. If you said no, if you want to watch anyway, if you said yes to all of them, then this may not be the right webinar for you, but feel free to stay because there's a proper gold in this webinar. But if you did say no to any of these questions, then you are in the right place. And if you've been struggling to easily attract and convert clients that aren't through word of mouth referral, then you're in the right place. If you dread taking those discovery calls, you are definitely in the right place. And if you feel like the only way of getting people on the phone is to offer them free coaching, then thank goodness you're here, because that isn't the only way at all. So if you're like me, if you were like me back then, feeling yuck, feeling sick, feeling really gross about running calls, well done for being here. Now, this is a term, I'm not quite sure who coined it, but I love it. If you're sick of the free pool, who just want to steal your time for free information, then thank goodness you're here. If you're fed up of taking the calls that end with, I'll think about it, followed by complete and utter silence from your messages that you follow up with, then well done for being here. And if you've done you're done with the I can't afford it line, which seems to be the major objection to all of your calls, then well done, you are here in the right place. Okay. But I just want to reiterate, it's not your fault that your conversion rate sucks. Okay, please don't be like, oh, there's something wrong with me. There is nothing wrong with you. We just don't get taught this stuff, and I want to show you a great way in order to persuade your amazing audience so that they are ready to buy from you before they get onto the call. Okay, so that is the main aim today. My big promise to you. And I told you, I see, when I make a promise, I stick with it 3 times round. I'm stuck and I've made this promise and it's going to happen, even if I have to force feed people. So I would love if we could just, give it a hell yes, because I feel like the more hell yeses and oh yeahs that we can get, means that the more success this is going to have of the internet staying with me. And you know what, I've just noticed my laptop isn't plugged in, so I'm going to have to any minute now go and plug it in, because that would be the next thing that goes. Honestly, isn't it like a snowball of things? When one thing goes wrong, the rest goes. But I'm determined, in fact, bear with me just 2 seconds, I'm going to plug it in now, because I'm not taking any chances. Bear with me for a moment. We've got some hell yeses. People, awesome, fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Right, we're back. Right, so get ready, and I'm serious. Grab a pen and pad, because there is a lot of juicy gold in here, and there's a lot of information. I'll probably get told off by some webinar people who say you need to cut down your information. I always refuse to do that. If anything, I put too much in, but it is gold. So get your pen, get your pad, focus, and get ready to take notes, because this is going to be a juicy one. So I'm going to drop the truth bombs for the 3rd time round, but I'm going to do this, okay? So the reason your calls feel gross is because there's a complete lack of transparency. So as I said before, when you are pulling people on and trying to do this bait and switch scenario where you get on the phone with me and you can get something for free, and you're pretending that you're not going to sell to them, then it just feels really, really gross. Okay, so here's a few tips on how to be completely transparent. Okay, so I want you to be upfront and set expectations. Make it completely known that the call is for people serious about working with you. If you're making it about like I say, free coaching or laser coaching session, and then suddenly you turn on them and you say, okay, well, I'm going to say something, it's going to feel gross. Okay, so just be completely honest with them. And if you are running a call as, say, a prize or something at the end of a challenge, then that call needs to be the prize. Don't try and squeeze in a sales activity in there, because that's not going to go down well. So be clear about what the call is about from the outset. Tell them the purpose of the course is to decide whether or not you'd be a good fit to work together. And if either of you decide it's not a good fit, you can leave the call with no hard feelings and potentially be pointed in the right direction of something or someone else that can help instead. Okay. And I don't know whether you guys heard it at the beginning because of the silence, but I just want to reiterate here that I'm not against calls. I didn't want to take them. I hated them. I hated the whole thing about them. I measured my business success on how many discovery calls I had. If I didn't have discovery calls booked in for that week, then I would just be like, well, I'm not going to make any sales. And that's how I thought, because I measured my success based upon how many calls I had booked in. But it doesn't have to be that way. Please do not panic. You don't have to have tons of calls booked in. Now, obviously, calls are great. If you get the right people on calls, it's going to mean that you're going to have a huge success rate and you are going to have a huge conversion rate. So I don't want to say don't ever do calls, because they are very important, but let's change what they're about. And then and this whole process that I'm going to show you now is going to make the whole process feel a lot nicer, and you're going to make sure that the people that you do speak to, your conversion rates are going to be much, much, much higher than they were before. Because if you randomly get somebody completely cold, just booking in, they're not in your group, they're not on your list, they're not anywhere within your following, and they suddenly just jump on a call, they've not seen or heard enough of you in order to make a decision on whether they're going to say yes or not. So it's highly unlikely that you're going to get a yes from that call, because you're trying to warm them up from being really, really cold on the phone call. And that doesn't work. We need to be warming up our audience, way before then. And it starts with the first ever introduction. Okay, the first ever introduction to you is the moment that you start warming your audience up, and I'm going to talk about that whole from the beginning to end process in just a moment. My actual name is Shah. Oh, I did call me. I didn't realise that was you, lovely. Your information is getting me to place where will be. Oh, fantastic. I am so pleased for you, lovely. And I didn't realise it was you. Two different names. Just out of interest, why two different names? But I'm so pleased to have you on here. And hello. Right. Third point. Make your prices available at the starting point. Make it known at the time of when they're booking the call. Now, you can do this before they book the call or at the time of booking the call. It's completely up to you. But let me just place this to you, because this is this age-old debate on, do I tell people my prices first, or do I get them on the call and tell them on the call? Or do I put prices on my website, or do I save it for the discovery call, right? Now, if you do save it for the discovery call, let me just talk you through the scenario of what's going to happen. So if you don't tell people what your prices are, you're potentially putting people off of even ringing you, because they don't even have a ballpark figure of what they should be expecting, and they may immediately count themselves out of being able to afford you. They don't know whether they can afford you or not. You know, they're looking at you, they're admiring you, they're seeing your value, and when they see how amazing you are, when you're warming them up in that process, they are automatically going to think, wow, this person's great. They probably cost a lot of money, but I don't know how much, and I'm not sure, and I don't know whether I can, and all these different types of things. Okay, so by telling people what your prices are from the outset, it helps people to decide whether or not it's something that they can do. There's a good point to do that. That's not right at the very beginning of when you meet someone. Hey, my name's Jen and my prices start from bang. Like they don't that people don't like to be sold to. That's a number one rule of sales. People don't like to be sold to. So there is a right time, but the time to tell them your pricing is before they get on the call. That is my advice, is tell them before they get on the call, because it means then that you're going to talk to people who are already primed. And you don't have to be like, this is the specific price. You could do a start from point, whatever it is that you want to do, but just give people enough information to make a decision. And then you can make sure that your conversion rate is much, much higher. Okay, so that's that one. Now I'm going to tackle these next two truth bombs in one fell swoop. Okay, so the second one is the reason why people don't take you up on your calls is because they're not sold on what you're offering. Okay, and that's the thing we have to see here, is if they're not taking on the calls, it's because they're like, well, you know, I'm not interested. That's why they're not booking the calls. And I know it's a bit harsh, but that's what's happening there. And the third reason that you're getting the I can't afford it line if you do get people on the phone is because they can't see the return on investment, which is exactly potentially the reason why they are not booking the calls in the first place either. It could be both. If they can't see the return on investment, they don't see the importance of it, they don't understand the value, then maybe they're not sure it's for them. There are all these questions that are going through their mind. Okay, so I'm going to take you through a few hints on how to deal with this. So I want you to ask yourself this question. Are the people in my audience, in your email list, on your Facebook group, are they pre-qualified prospects? Okay. Now, to really just explain what I mean by this, I want to ask you to ask yourself these questions. Do they have the problem you solve? Do they want the outcome that you help them achieve? And have they experienced you and your unique solution? Okay, so have they done all of these three things? If they have, then they are at least 3/4 of the way there to being pre-qualified. The only other thing you could tag on to that is, you know, do they know what products you have and the pricing? Are they pre-qualified? Have they been taken through that sequence? And are these things solid and concrete? So what do I mean by that? What I mean is, are you being vague and fluffy about the problem that you're talking about? Is it understandable? Can people really kind of sink their teeth into what you're talking about? Is it a concrete idea that people can bring up an image in their minds of what that looks like, of what the outcome it is that you help them achieve? Have you made it tangible for them in order for them to understand what it is you're offering. And only you can answer that, really. And I mean, a great way to do a test, if you're like, well, I'm not sure, am I being too vague? Go and tell people these 3 things. Tell them the problem you solve, tell them the outcome you help them achieve, and get them to repeat it back to you. And if they're not sure, and if they don't understand, and if they're not able to assimilate that information quickly and easily, then no, you haven't got a solid and concrete problem, nor a solid and concrete outcome. That's really, really important. Do you have a highly targeted audience? So are you actually relying on the right people to show their faces in the masses when you offer them a call? So is that what's happening? Because if you are relying on your following on your Facebook page, so if you've got a load of likes and you're just chucking out a call to action to jump on a call with you into, say, just a random, Facebook post on your page, it's highly likely that they're going to be feeling like this. They don't want to jump on the call with you, because unless you have a very old Facebook page and you put a lot of money into Facebook ads and you have a great community on there, and I got a couple of my clients to do this when they first started working with me, because they were like, I've been consistent with putting stuff out on social media. And I was like, okay, so where are you doing it? And they're like, on my business page. And then we'd go through and we'd look how many likes they've got. And that ranged anything from between 50 likes to, say, even, a couple of thousand likes. And they would go through and I'd say, okay, now let's actually look at the reach on your page. And it would show maybe 5 people for the person with not many likes. It would show maximum maybe 200 people in terms of reach. And we cannot say who those 200 people are, and we cannot say that they've necessarily stopped and engaged. If they've not liked or commented, then we don't know who is really seeing this, and who do we get to like our pages? Are you really careful about who you get to like your page? Like, we don't know who those people are. It could be your mum, and as much as she loves you, she's not going to spend that money on you. So it's really important to realize that people aren't seeing enough of you by just posting on your Facebook page only and doing nothing else. It's highly likely, and I'm not saying this is all completely true, because there are people out there, for instance, to give you an example, like Amanda Bond, who is the ad strategist for Facebook. She has an incredible community on her page and she runs everything from it, and she's done a great job at it. So I'm not saying this, running a page doesn't work. I'm just saying, in the majority of cases, if you really go and take a solid look of what you've got on there, the reality really isn't the case. Okay, you're not reaching the amount of people that you want to be reaching, and you're not doing it consistently enough, because you can't guarantee that they're going to see all of your posts all of the time. I always say, you can't control what people will see of you necessarily, but switch it around. You can't control when people are going to see something of you, but you can control what people see. So you've got to be thinking about the platform and the format. So, for instance, a group is a great way, because you know that those people are going to be more engaged with you and they're going to be seeing a lot more of your stuff than on your page. So you know that it may be more appropriate to put a call to action for calls out in your group or on your email list, because you know that people are opening them, that they're seeing your stuff. You've got a little bit more control over it. So be a little bit savvy about, where am I actually showing up, and are people seeing me consistently? Because people need to build this age-old system of know, like, and trust. They've got to know who you are, they need to like you, and in order to build trust with you, they have to be seeing you consistently and persistently. They have to be able to see you a lot more than you realize. Someone quoted something like 7 touch points. It's actually up to 14. Actually up to 14 touch points before the right person will buy from you, up to. So you think people have got to be getting to know you, and what you're putting out there has got to be gold, so that they really enjoy watching you. Okay, so converting prospects means doing the following. Now, feel free to jot these down. Okay, so the first thing is building a relationship of trust that you can solve their problem and help them achieve their true desires. Number 1. Number 2, you need to fill them with confidence that what they want to happen will happen when they work with you. They've got to have complete confidence in you. They've got to trust you. And that investing in you will be a great return on investment for them. So if you can do all of those three things, you've completely and utterly nailed it on the head. Okay, so those are the 3 pointers that you need to be doing. So all of those three things can actually be achieved before they get on the phone call. You know, this stuff shouldn't be happening on the call. The call should be a reiteration of those three things, not the sole place that it happens. So to go through a quick system, you need to be offering a free call to action to some kind of amazing value. Okay. Secondly, you need to deliver incredible value. And I recorded a video on this recently, and it was around the question of how much value is giving away too much. Okay, when are you giving away too much of your free stuff? And the kind of the bottom line is, and I have two sides to this, because we hear this first one a lot. And if you haven't, your mind is about to be blown. Whenever you feel like you're giving away too much of your free stuff, give more, because you really do need to give the best of yourself, because no one ever took this under their wing and went, brilliant, I've got all the free stuff, fantastic. And then they run away with all your great stuff and think, okay, I've got it all. Nothing will replace the one-to-one element, or not even the one-to-one. Nothing will replace a support element that you supply. So even if it's a self-study, you're going to have some kind of perhaps group or something where people can contact you. They're going to be able to ask you questions potentially about that particular product. They may be able to they've got everything in one place. They've kind of got the A to Z of that particular program. They've got, even if they could get all of your stuff. And I recently bought a self-study program, and I actually, everyone who heard me vow to never buy a self-study, I actually did. I bought a self-study about a couple of weeks ago around YouTube stuff, and it's actually amazing. And the thing is, you can probably access a majority of the stuff that's in that program through the free stuff that they offer, but it's all over the shop, like trying to make sense of what do I need? Do I need to watch that? I mean, they've got 1,000,001 videos and tutorials to watch, and not all of them are in this particular thing, because they've taken out the most appropriate things for that program, and then they put it sequentially, so I know what ones I need to be watching when. I don't feel like I've been ripped off. I'm just glad that they put it all in one place where I can access it, and I've got access to a Facebook group where I can ask questions and be around another community of other people. So don't ever think that you're giving away too much in that essence. Now, there is a time when you are, okay, and this is where I'm going to drop another truth bomb here. Now, this happened to me. If you think about what people are paying for, they're paying for accountability, they're paying for the support, they're maybe paying for that one-to-one level service. They are paying for everything to be sequentially, and they're also paying for potentially personalized advice, particularly if it's high-end, high-touch products. They are going to be getting access to you to really give that personalized advice on their particular situation. Now, where I draw the line, and this is where the Facebook group thing has really blurred the lines on this. And I made this big mistake in my business a little while ago. And when you start to give personalized information, that's when you know that you're crossing the line in terms of, yes, you are giving away your stuff that should be paid for. There is a line. A lot of people say there is no line. You just give. No, there is a line. As soon as it starts going into personalized information and personalized tweaking, that's where the boundary has to be drawn. And if Emma, if you're still watching, I know that you'll love that boundary line. You've got to be clear about when that stops. If they want that kind of personalized information, yeah, you could do a Q&A every now and then. But when you start going beyond that, or you're running Q&As every single week or every single day or whatever it is that you're doing, you are literally giving people full on access to your expertise that should be paid for. So know your boundary, know your line. But in terms of broadcasting information like this on a webinar format, on your emails, on your blogs, on your YouTube videos, on your Facebook Lives, whatever it is you're doing that you're broadcasting out there, you go nuts, because people, if you show them what you're made of, they will come back for more. It's just the God's honest truth. And I watched a webinar the other day, and I just thought, wow, you're either not very good or you're holding back a ton of gold, because it's really simple stuff. And this has happened both in webinars I've watched, it's happened in opt-ins and lead magnets, where I've downloaded the thing and it's a bit like, well, that's a bit obvious. Like it was so obvious, even someone who had never done the thing that I wanted to do would still be like, this is really obvious. it wasn't gold, it wasn't amazing. And I always say, just as a little tidbit, when you're creating an opt-in, if you're not willing to charge for that opt-in, not that you are going to, but if you wouldn't consider charging for it, then you haven't created enough value. So you really need to do pack a punch when you give value. Then if you've done the work in that front end, make the offer. Just make the offer and then get on the phone. I mean, you can do this in two ways. You can go straight to a call, but I would still advise being transparent about your pricing before you get them on the call, whether that's a starting point or whether it's, this is the program that I'm offering you. Would you like it? Let's get on a phone to check at the phone, check out whether we're a good fit. So instead of it being a sleazy sales call, it turns into a decision-making call where they get on the phone with you and they're like, wow, I really want to work with you. I am ready to work with you. I just want to check a few things out and make sure that we're a good fit, or potentially I want to make sure that you will take me on. And they get on the phone and and your conversion rate is going to be much, much higher. They're going to be making a decision on that phone call rather than I'll think about it. That's the best scenario that you want people to be on. So 5 questions to ask yourself so that you can diagnose what's missing from your persuasion system. Okay, so this is the 5 questions I want you to ask yourself. I'm going to check the comments, make sure I'll have a good boundary. Oh, thank you so much for joining me, Emma. Debbie, yes, same, or it's just a big sales pitch, not value first. Exactly, it's properly gross, right? So these are 5 questions that I suggest you write down because they're going to save your ass. So the first question is, what problem am I solving? Simple. And I know it sounds simple, but these questions are something like, well, it's a simple question, but I'm not quite sure how I'm answering it, okay? But this is wherever you get stuck is where you need to unclog the system. Secondly, what will happen if people don't get help to solve this problem? Okay, so that's really important for you to understand in your mind. Number 3, what will happen when they do get help with that problem? What's going to happen when they do solve it? And now these last 2 numbers. Now, one of my clients, Fran, who is an amazing mindset coach to help people start taking action, she has this thing about positive pants. I'm going to say, get your honesty pants on, right? These last two questions require you to be seriously honest with yourself. So 4, am I doing enough to communicate the answers and consequences to those first 3 questions to my audience? Are you actually communicating it, again, in a concrete, solid way enough? Are you doing it enough? Number 5, do I have an audience of people who genuinely have the problem I solve? If they don't, and this happens a lot, and I sort of use the term old audience, and I just want to explain what I mean by that. So an old audience is somebody who you've been communicating to for a while and have been building for a long time. And if you have been switching niches, or you've been unsure about what you're doing, or if you've been giving different messages, different communications to them over a long period of time, you could have built the audience of a hodgepodge of different people with various different problems, which may not be the exact problem you solve. And you could also have a lot of people in there who have kind of lost trust. And I need to be honest with you that if you have been switching, you're going to have to put the work in. And the sad, honest truth is that you may have lost some of those people, because sometimes trust can't be rebuilt, because, and then I'm talking about this, it sounds like, don't make anyone cry here, but people do need to trust you in order to buy from you. And so if you've been messing about with your messaging and what you solve and when you do it, then you seriously need to consider that maybe you've lost those people. So you need to actively regenerate your audience in order to make sure that you've got the right people in there with the problem that you solve. Excuse the noise in the background, Andy's just getting the door because we've got packages. How exciting. Right, so those are the 5 questions. So I hope those help. Those are helpful questions. So just to dive a bit deeper into this, we need to make sure that your lead generation and your opt-in speak to the right people and their true desires. That's how we're going to make sure that we're building the right kind of audience for us, to make sure that it really does speak to them. Secondly, give them incredible value that helps them make progress with that problem to achieve the outcome that they want to achieve. I'm just looking here. Emma says number five is me. I switched last year and now have my new target audience being built. Woohoo! I'm so excited for you, Emma. That's really, really good news. Diving deeper to number 3. So make your offer, as in like what your offer of the program or the service that you're offering, that's in congruence with that lead generation tool. So with the opt-in or the value that you're delivering. And I've put in brackets here, not just once. But you do need to make sure that what you're offering makes sense to the first thing that you've put out there, that it continues that journey, so that it makes complete sense to that prospect, that okay, so you've given me this free value and now the next thing you're going to ask me to pay for is something to do with that. If it's not, then it's a complete mismatch and you've lost them. But the brackets bit are not just once. I think this is really important. And a lot of people think, well, I put it out there and I offered them once and they didn't say yes to it. And so I didn't do any more, or maybe even 2 or 3 times. It's not enough. You need to seriously deliver and offer that many, many times. And I've got a bit of an A and B to number 3. Okay. So the first A is you need to build in urgency. We need deadlines as human beings. I'm a class A procrastinator. I will wait until the last minute to make a decision. And potentially, if I'm not made clear of that deadline and if I'm not reminded of that deadline, it will go past and I will seriously regret not making that decision. So I'm quite happy to have someone remind me that, by the way, you're going to have to make a decision by this point, otherwise the offer's off the table, because I need that deadline. And there was a TED talk I watched a little while ago, which is brilliant. If anyone watched it, it's about the panic monster that comes out when the deadline starts to arrive. The panic monster was seen as this guardian angel who came out to save you. And it's true, it really is. A panic monster really does save us, because it goes, make a decision, otherwise you're going to miss out. Make a decision now, otherwise that opportunity is going to pass you by. And in that TED talk, it basically said that I genuinely believe that we're all procrastinators. I am of the same thoughts as well. I genuinely believe that as human beings, we need deadlines. We need that urgency to make decisions. Otherwise, we would just bumble along in life. If there was no consequence to anything, we would just be these weird existing beings. In order to make progress, in order to get people to do things, they need consequences, they need action, they need boundaries, as Emma Langton says. So the number B, letter B for number 3, let me go to it, is if you're transparent about your pricing at this point, your calls will be more qualified and more successful. Okay, so if you're making sure that you've given them the deadline, you've given them some kind of price, they are going to be more inclined to book the call, to get on there, and not even book the call. Sometimes, on the odd occasion, if you're selling something that doesn't require a call, which basically means that you know that whoever buys this thing is going to get help without you needing to make sure that they're the right fit for it, then you might not need a call. They could just press the buy now button, right? You might not even need to. But there's a massive but here. So who are the right people and what are their true desires? And how can you go about easily communicating and demonstrating that you're the one they really want and need? Okay. And I know there are a few of my clients in here. So if any of my clients watching this, I know that a lot of this you may have heard before, but I've chucked in a few golden nuggets hidden in amongst my amazing structure that I normally go through. So if you can stick around, that would be fantastic. If you can't, totally understand, but you will be hearing some new material. How exciting. Okay, so I'm going to show you the 5 stages of prep that you need to take to make sure you're set to convert with ease. Okay, so get ready. So as always begins with who. It doesn't matter what webinar I run. Step 1 is always who. Who is your ideal client? Okay. So these are the words that seeded my business. Everyone is no one in business. If we cast our net wide and we try and help everybody, then it's not going to work. We're not going to convert anybody because our message isn't speaking to anyone in particular. People don't understand that you're talking to them. They don't know to listen. So really, everyone is no one in business. Okay, so 4 years ago when I heard these words said to me in a networking meeting, I suddenly thought, oh, that's why my businesses have really struggled over the past few years. And this is why I'm here to share this information with you. But the information runs a lot deeper than just these words, which is what I'm about to show you, okay? So what I need you to be able to do is I need you to be able to describe that ideal client at a contextual level. so that they can self-identify with that label. So for instance, you need to help them be able to go tick, that's me. So I'm a single mum, yes, oh, I need to listen. I'm a diabetic male, yes, that's me, I need to listen. That's what you want people to feel like, that like, oh, okay, this is for me. And one of the points I've just mentioned here on the slide is they need to know that it fits them like a glove. That's the best way that I can describe this. They need to know that your service really suits what they want. That's super important. So does it fit them like a glove? If it doesn't, then you haven't got it down far enough. You haven't, niched it down far enough. We need to be really clear on who it is we're speaking to. And something Daniel Priestley said in one of his events that I attended about 6 months ago was around, I'm just checking, oh no, it's fine, it's my mother. I thought it was someone messaging me to tell me they can't hear me again. I was like, no, sorry mum, I'll speak to you in a bit. It's something he said is that really confused me. He said there is no such thing as a market, and I thought my world was about to cave in. I'm like, what do you mean there's no such thing as a market? It's what I've been talking about. It's making you desirable to your market. How dare you? And then he dropped the bomb and he said, no, there are only individuals. And it's so right. He was so right. And I was like, I see where you're going there. And it's true. It's all about the individuals within that market, which is why I said earlier on, your product's not made for everybody. Your product is made for someone in particular. Now, it doesn't mean that there's only one person in the world that's ever going to buy from you, because there'll be more people like that one person. But if we can really focus down onto that particular one person, we know that there are going to be more people like that one person, okay, and many more. If you're an online business, you've basically got access to the world, okay, or at least the world who has the ability to pay you, right? So you have access to everybody, and this is where our minds can get confused, because we've got access to everybody. Brilliant, I will sell to everybody. But it doesn't work like that. We have to go the other way around. Who is meant for us? Who are we meant to be serving? And who is it that really needs our help? So don't be vague, help them understand. Even if you look at something like ClickFunnels, if you've ever come across a Russell Brunson advert for ClickFunnels, and if you've not heard of it, you can go and have a little Google, you will find a little cheesy, it's a bit cheesy, but Russell Brunson, bless his heart, I absolutely adore him, but his stuff is a wee bit cheesy, but it works, so that's the main thing. You've got two people standing there, and he's going, what happens if I'm a coach? Would it work for me? And the other person goes, yeah, absolutely, it works for you in this way. Oh, well, what happens if I'm a service-based blah, blah, blah? And she goes, oh, absolutely, that fits you because it helps you do this, da, 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 da. So can you see that by helping people to understand that the product that you've got, the service, the package, works for them in particular, they will listen a lot harder, because they know that they need to be listening, because it's something that's specifically specialized for what they need. Right, so that's that one. Step 2 is you need to get clear on the problem. So that first question, so if anybody was at number 1 going, actually, yeah, what problem do I solve? Now, I want to kind of take you through a way of thinking about this, because this got me stuck for some time. I'm not necessarily an emotional seller. And by that, I mean, I'm not somebody who necessarily solves A&E problems. So for instance, a breakup relationship coach would be someone who deals on a very emotional level, someone who's in serious need of some help. It's a bit like they're in A&E mode. They need to go, or the emergency room, depending whether they're in the US watching or not, right? So they're in there and they need some serious help, because they're down. They're down underground, and they need you to put your hands out and reach out and say, look, here, let me help you up. So that's more of the emotional seller. Now, I'm a massive aspirational seller. I will sell based upon the outcome. But in business, we still need to have both. Whether you're an emotional seller or an aspirational seller, you've still got to have a problem, and you still need to have an outcome. People need to see and be able to understand the transformation that you're giving them. So you still need to have both, but you may lay more heavily on one side than you do the other. So what I mean by this is, if you are more of an aspirational seller and you think, well, actually, my client isn't in that kind of like bleeding neck A&E issue, there will still be something stopping them from achieving the goal that they want to achieve. That's the problem, the blockade, the thing that's clogging up what they need to move past. So we can still have a problem, even if you're a bit more happy chappy like me. I'm just going to have a sip of cold tea. It's gone cold now. Cold Lady Grey. Right. So think about, where are they now? in their journey? Are they down in the hole, or are they a bit further up and they're looking forward? Because there's this, like, I call it like the tipping point. Okay, all of your ideal clients will tend to be heading in one destination, which I'll come to in a moment, which is called the Success Island. They'll all be walking towards that. But are they here, or are they here? If they move past that kind of tipping point, or even here, you will see that they will start to go, wow, I'm a lot closer. And they will be, it's a bit like they're like running, they're sprinting to the end because they can see the end is in sight, and they're like, yes, this is where I need to get to. And you could be talking a lot more about that because you're like, you're so close, you just need help with this, and this, and you're going to get there. It's going to be amazing. But maybe the person who's over here doesn't really feel like that. Maybe they feel like, oh God, like, oh, I would love to be there right now. But right now, I can't even think about it too much. Like, that's where I want to be. I know I want to be there, but I just need to get myself out of the state that I'm in. They're in an emotional place. They're somewhere where, that they don't feel good. Okay, they're in the place where they don't feel good. So where is your ideal client? Are they in that home on that last sprint, but I still need some help? Or are they on the place of where they're like, oh God, I need someone to help me up here because I'm in some serious trouble. So where are they? That will really help you to identify how that all of that works in terms of the problem. Now, the next thing I would like to show you is that actually you're dealing with two types of problems. Who would know? So that one problem that you're thinking about actually features in two different ways. You've got an external problem and you have an internal problem. So the best example that I can give you that will explain the external and internal problem is the FedEx example. Now, I can't remember whether this was featured in here, but this system of external and internal was definitely inside of My Story Brand by Donald Miller. Great book, suggest you read it. And it's fantastic, and it goes into this in a little bit more depth. And I can't remember whether this particular example was in the book or is it another one I've picked out. But the great example is FedEx famously said, when we realized that we were selling peace of mind versus getting my product from one end to another, our business took off. Because people are more motivated to cure an internal problem or get help with an internal problem than they are the external problem. So if you think about FedEx, their customers, they don't just want their thing to get there, they want to make sure it definitely gets there at the time it's stated. So they're in a state of worry. They're like, I need this to get there by tomorrow, in one piece, and I need it to be there. Like, can you guarantee it? That's the internal issue. Yes, they want it to go from A to B, but they have an internal problem. So I hope that's explained that very well, and that you can take that and think about how you might apply that in your own business. Is it a genuine urgent problem? Okay, so people will pay to move away from pain. But as I said earlier on, it might be, are they on the last sprint or are they at the beginning of their journey? So what is your client going through that's so urgent that they want to move away from it, and why? So if you go back to those questions that I mentioned a bit earlier, looking at the consequences of if they don't take action on this thing now, what will happen, and what will happen when they do. But we need to really see the reasons why they would want to do that. In order to see the need for us and why we should be wanted, we really have to understand that part of the piece of the puzzle, sorry. And the third thing is, how is that problem impacting them directly and indirectly? And this very much feeds into the same kind of thing. So if you think about your problem that you're solving, that might give a direct result to do something specific. But what about everything else that's going on in their life? So it could be affecting their mindset. They might not be very happy. It might be affecting their relationships, both with their spouse, their friends, their social life, their kids. It could have an impact on their finances. It could have an impact on their health. Like, what's the extended stuff that is going on in their life that is causing a problem? If we can really understand that, we can really start to shape and communicate the return on investment on both the positive and negative of working with you. And that's really important that we communicate it. It's great us knowing all this stuff, but are we communicating that to our audience? And the last thing about problems is we shouldn't have to convince someone that they have a problem. They really should already know it. And when I work with some of my clients, some of the first things that they say to me is, well, they've got this problem, but they don't know that they've got it. Now, we kind of we have a bit of a glass, a crystal ball, right? Where we can see into the future of what's going on for them because we've been there, done it, and got the t-shirt. So when we look back and we go, oh, well, what the real problem was this. And this is great for your content. It's great for awareness. It's great for helping people to have that deeper understanding and putting your message out there. It's fab. But if you want people to listen to you, you have to talk about the problem they know they have, because they're probably in denial, or they just think, well, that doesn't relate to me, because that doesn't make any sense, because I'm not going through that. And also, I'll give you another example. It goes back to, not everybody needs your help who has the problem, right? So at the end of a speaking gig that I did, I had someone come up to me, and I confessed, as I did at the beginning of this, that I am petrified of public speaking. But what I said was, it doesn't stop me. I'd still go out there and I do it. So I don't see it as a problem. But she tried to sell to me her particular coaching package on how to overcome fear to do public speaking. But I was like, but it's not a problem for me. Like, it's an issue maybe, and it maybe causes a few problems with speech and my stage presence and things like that. But I don't really see that as a problem. If you're going to sell to me, the problem I've got is with fine-tuning how I talk, slowing down, my stage presence, maybe how I structure my speaking stuff. That's what I'll pay for. I'm not going to pay for a problem that isn't a problem. So don't try and convince people that they have a problem, because they may not do. It's about understanding what problem you're solving, and do they really have it? Is it an issue for them? Is it impacting and harming their lives? Because if it's not, then you're a nice to have, not a must have. And no one pays for a nice to have in reality, right? So number 3 is get clarity on your ideal client success island. So this is about where we got to last night, and the whole thing collapsed. So woohoo, we've made it to the point. So let's hope we can get over this hump and move past this. So number 3 is about getting clarity on your ideal client success island. Now, I hinted to this earlier on about, this is the destination where they want to get to. It's the overall goal place where they want to be at. Okay, and again, your ideal client could be back here, or they could be closer. They might even be just a little step to it. Who knows? You can decide where your ideal clients are at. And it may be that you deal with a few different ideal clients, right? I would always say, if you haven't mastered selling to one of those people and you're trying to market to all of them, just don't do that. Find one, stick with one, and then decide what other ideal clients you're then going to move on to once you've mastered selling to that particular person. So the success island then, to get really clear on this, to give you a tip, people have the urge to buy emotionally first, and then they justify the decision with logic after. So if you think about the success island, that is all wrapped up in emotion. That's that kind of like finish line of hooray, I have made it. Okay, so that's that they're emotionally tied up into, and the other stuff I'll come to in a moment is about justifying with logic. But this is where you can really get them hooked on what it is you have to offer. Now this is something that will literally blow your mind, right? People buy things that help them to uphold a reputation or to create the identity they wish to become. Now I always use this example because it's a great example, and it's my other half's ideal client, Andy. So Andy's ideal client, Andy runs a business called Evertrek, and he based an adventure travel business where he supplies a platform where he organises trips to Everest Base Camp. And he will lead some of those groups, or he'll organise for other guides and the flight stuff and the all the other things that you need to happen, accommodation, all that stuff, right? So that's what his business does. He's a service provider for people who want to go to Everest Base Camp. Now, his ideal client is known potentially, he has kind of 2 here. So the first one is the adventurer. They're in their local cycling club, right? They attend every single week. But they're not just any adventurer. They're the person who's continually pushing themselves, who wants to be doing the bigger thing, who wants to push themselves to the limits. They're kind of like a mini Bear Grylls, and they're like, no, I'm ready for this. What's the next thing? What's the next adventure, guys? Let's go and live on an island naked for 3 weeks and live hardcore for crabs and stuff. Like, who knows? Like, that's the kind of person that he attracts, because that's the reputation they're trying to uphold that identity. They're going to spend more money and go outdoors and North Face than they are on a suit. That's just because that's their identity. And if you think about why you buy your clothes, where you buy your clothes, why you buy them, because you value different things for different reasons. But that's what his ideal client, that's the identity that he wants to keep. And potentially there's a different ideal client here, okay? Someone who's potentially at the beginning of their journey of adventure, where they've been sitting at their desk in the office, and they're tired and they're bored of life, maybe a little bit overweight, and they see their adventurous mate who they really admire, who they are secretly a little bit jealous of, and they're like, I want to do that, and they say, sod it. They close their laptop down and they go and book a trip to Everest, because that's who they want to be like. They don't want to be the boring person, they want to be the fun, adventurous one. So it's an identity that they start to want to create for themselves. So, think about your ideal client. Who do they want to be? What reputation are they trying to uphold, or what identity are they now trying to create for themselves? Give that some real good thought, because if you're able to nail that, you're really going to add that desirability factor to your business, where people truly want what you've got, and that's what you're after. So who do they want to become? I gave Andy's client a great name, which is an adventurer. That's who they either the identity they want to uphold or they want to become. They want to become an adventurer, somebody who comes back and has a story to tell, where they can be like, oh man, I did this thing and it was incredible, and this is the journey I've just been through. What's next? That's who they are. So if you can label who they're going to become, it's going to make your ideas more solid and more concrete, and gives them something to stick their teeth into, so they can go, yes, that's who I want to be. That's who I am right now. That's who I want to be. Now, this is a really interesting one. Another reason why people buy stuff is because they have an aspirational connection. So in thinking about how you're going to convert your clients, it could be in many different ways. So I'm going to use some big names here so you can easily understand. If you look at things like Apple, Steve Jobs was that aspirational connection to Apple. He was the person the driving force behind it. If you think about Nike, for instance, they use sporting celebs to front their business and to say, hey, Nike is great, I use it, and it's got that connection with those people. And you think, well, if they're using it, then I want to use it. Right? That's how we think. But in a lot of cases, you might be the aspirational connection. People might look at you and go, wow, you've been through that journey and you've come out the other side, and you're here and you've done it. This is incredible. I want to be like this. Show me. So if you want to be the front man of your business, which I truly believe that you should be, then own it. Own your awesomeness. Stand up and take that stage. Be that aspirational connection. There is no shame in that. People need you to inspire them. So really step into that role as that aspirational connection. Another way you can do this is by collaborating with people in your industry, people who are respected, who people do look up to. And if you align yourself on that level and you collaborate with these people, and you can do it in many different ways. I'm not talking about setting up a business with these people. Even just an interview with that person is amazing, and will add that extra aspirational connection to what it is you're offering. Now, I kind of want to start with the slide after this, because what I don't advocate is shaming people in any way to convince people to buy. I really detest it. I cannot bear it. I don't abide it. It's not ethical. I think it's gross. Just don't do it, right? But if we can identify the kind of identity that they want to move away from, it really helps us to figure out where they do want to get to. So when we look at our ideal client, this is always a great way. So, what don't they want to do? What don't they want to be? What position don't they want to be in? And it helps us create the other half of that story. But potentially this exercise is great because it might bring out a nemesis. Now, I'm not talking about a person here, okay? Because again, I don't agree with shaming particular people. That's not good. But it's a bit like the new parenting techniques. If we don't scold the child, we talk about the behaviors. So you can talk about behaviors as being a nemesis, okay? And if we can kind of point out your ideal client's enemy for them, that really helps them to understand what you're about, what you stand for, and the opposing side of things. So that's another great way to get clarity. So yeah, it gives them clarity on where they want to go and sometimes the problem that they're experiencing. So it's a great exercise to do. Now, it's important to mention here that there will be non-ideal clients within the market you serve that may cleverly be disguised as your ideal client. And that may mean that they maybe do have the problem that you solve. But your ideal clients will share your worldviews and your opinions, which is why it's so important to have an opinion and share it openly. Because people need to know what you're about. They need to know what you stand for. They need to know what you stand against. They need to understand that to know whether you're the right person to help them. It helps them build that know, like, and trust factor. So please don't be afraid to share your story. Don't be afraid to share your opinion. Don't be afraid to share your truth, because through doing that and sharing that message openly, you're going to be like this beacon, like a lighthouse that draws the right people to you and also puts the wrong people off, which is what you want. So please don't be afraid of having an opinion, because it really is vital for adding that desirability factor to your business so that people feel like, yes, I'm on board with this. It's all part of the conversion. People will buy in to your identity and your world views. So go and share them. So the Success Island is all about looking at that problem and looking about the transformation. So the Success Island is the second half of your transformation. And the problem, and say, I don't know, maybe I should come up with a different name for the island. I've just realized maybe I need to, I don't know, Hell Island or something, right? So where is Hell Island and where is Success Island? Where are they going from and to? How is it going to change their life? That's what they want to know. How is this going to change my life? And if you can really describe that contextually, concretely, solidly to them, it's going to really help them understand where they're going to go from and to. They're going to be more likely to say yes. So when you think about that, just to go a little level deeper, what are they going to have when they get to that Success Island? How are they going to feel when they get to that Success Island? And what's a day in the life of? And you can do this for both sides. You can do this from Hell Island and Success Island, okay? What do they have? What do they feel? And what's a day in the life like on this place? And conversely on the other place. And that will really help to describe that transformation for you and get that solid. Now, extended benefits. Now, you know, I talked about the negative consequences of not taking action, of not solving the problem that they have, staying where they are. What will happen to them? Extended benefits is a term coined by Brendon Burchard, who I absolutely love. And he talks about how you extend the benefits out to help persuade people to say yes to the thing that they want. And that is about looking at their loved ones, their community, and the world. So how will it benefit those three places? If we can describe to somebody genuinely, ethically, what will happen when they reach that Success Island, how it's going to affect those people, it's going to help them realize the magic that's going to happen, and that bigger transformation, that extended transformation that will happen not only on their life, but on the loved ones around them. It really helps people to see the bigger picture and help them make the best decision for them. So this is when it starts to get a little bit more logical. Okay, so this is where we look at the one big, solid, juicy outcome. So we want to look at the outcome that you provide, and sorry, spit my words out, Jen. The outcome that you provide, which leads to the Success Island. So what is your puzzle piece? So what's a direct, solid results, and how does it help them to build the bridge across to their ultimate goal? Okay, so this is a solid outcome that you give somebody that will help them achieve their way to their Success Island. So a great way that I like to describe this as is if you think of your Hell Island and your Success Island, and you need to build a bridge across to that Success Island, you're going to need a puzzle piece to build across. Now, just because your puzzle piece doesn't get them directly there straight away right now, doesn't mean you can't talk about that Success Island, because that's still where they want to be. That's still where they're going to head. And without your puzzle piece at this end, they're not going to make it across. It doesn't make that puzzle piece any less important just because it's not there. It can be here, and you can still ethically talk about that success island and how your puzzle piece, how your solid outcome that you provide, link it, show them how it will help them reach that point. And this is why we get so scared. People try and solve all the things. They try and give them all the puzzle pieces. Here's this piece and here's this piece. And they're all like, oh, okay, right, let me see. And then they're like, oh, I don't know how to put it all together. And it confuses the hell out of people. Keep it simple. What solid outcome are you giving people by selling your service? How will it help them achieve that? Don't feel out of integrity telling them about where they're going to be, because it will help them get there. That is the main thing. So make it solid, and one of the best ways to discover whether it's solid enough or not, and I'm not talking about physical products, you can productize and make your intangible service completely tangible. So if you can think about how will they measure it, how will they know that they've achieved that solid outcome, put it into a kind of a tick list. Okay, so for instance, for me, some of the things that I think about when I'm working with my clients is, have they got full understanding of their ideal client on this level, this level, this level, this level? Are they able to communicate this? Yes, whatever. Make it as tangible as possible so that it becomes a logical roadmap of achieving the result that they want, they ultimately want to have. Because people do need to have faith in that process. They need to understand what solution it is that you're providing them, not in like mega detail, but they do need to logically justify in their minds what they're paying their money for. Because how many people do we know have gone like, and you might have done this yourself, where you've gone to your other half and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I really want to work with this person. They're just fab. And your other half goes, oh great, what is it they do? What are you going to get? And you're like, well, I'm not sure actually, but I love them. And that's when the doubt starts to creep in, because they're like, actually, what am I paying for? I really want to buy from this person, but I'm not sure that it's going to give me what I need. So help them understand by making things solid and concrete, and so that they can really take that information and make the best decision for them and go, okay, fine, I know what I'm going to get at the end of this. This is what I'm after. Fabulous. So it's got to be something that they truly want, that they know is going to get them closer to their success island, which means you're going to have to link that solid result to that success island. And you have to be confident enough to promise something, because if you're not confident enough to promise something, and what I'm saying is you can't make guarantees in life. I mean, there are some things that you can make a guarantee on, and I actually really suggest that if you can make a guarantee somewhere, make it, because it helps people to build trust. If you can say, okay, if you don't get this, you're going to get your money back, or if you don't achieve this, then I can offer you an extra program or extra help, because I am so confident in my ability to help get you there. There are some cases where that you can't do it, because unless people take action, unless they do something, then it won't work. So I always say, like, you can give someone a mop, but unless they use the mop, they're not going to have a clean floor, right? So there are occasions where there are no guarantees. But what I am saying is you still need to be confident in what you want to achieve for them. If you're not going to state it, they're not going to feel comfortable or confident to buy from you, and they're not going to know what they're getting. So make it concrete, make it solid, and be confident in your abilities so they can be confident in your abilities. People also buy because it's useful. I'm just going to check here. How do you so yeah, people buy because it's useful. People want to know that they're gonna be able to use what you've given them, and people really underrate this particular thing. Like, this is one of the main reasons people feel motivated to buy, is because it's useful to them. So remember, not only are you selling your benefits, what actually we're inclined to do in the service industry is talk too much about benefits and we forget the features. We're selling benefits and features. People need features to logically justify in their mind what they're buying. So how is what you have going to be useful to them? Have a really good think about that. Now we're coming to the end of the 5 steps, okay? So I just want to recap on what we've gone through to give you a really good idea. So first of all, we look at who, get that really specific contextual level. Then we're looking at what problem you're solving, what outcome are you providing to help them solve that problem, what's your solution, and the success island. If we can get all of those 3 things, those 4 things sorted, We know that we've got a solid micro niche. And a lot of people use, like, first time you might have heard me use the term micro niche in this webinar. A lot of people get confused by micro niche. It's a scary word. They might not understand what it is. But actually, all it is a really deep understanding of your ideal client. That's all micro niching is. It's understanding who it is you're selling to. Now, the last step and prep that you need to be doing is, how are you unique? What is the new solution that you are bringing to the table that not everybody else is doing? So these are the questions that you can ask yourself to try and draw out that uniqueness. Is, why will your solution work over all the other options out there? First question. Second question, people buy into new, it's not a question at all, statement. People buy into newness and novelty. So we need to understand how is what I've got new in some way that will give them hope. And I always say it's about hope. It's about giving people that hope that they can now achieve it. And I'll give you a really good example of this. I've been looking at lead generation models, right? How am I going to get more people into my funnels, into my business, without paying through the nose on Facebook ads? Because Facebook ads have skyrocketed in price. And I was thinking, what else? And I was thinking, God, is this the only way? Is this the only way to generate leads into my business? And then somebody showed me YouTube. Someone showed me how I could use YouTube to bring in leads for free traffic. How amazing is that? And suddenly, instead of feeling a bit depressed about the whole topic, I got new hope. It was a new solution. Someone showed me a different way, a new way of doing things, and it gave me hope. So it's not about shiny object syndrome, but this is why shiny object syndrome happens, because we think it's going to be the thing that's going to save us, right? Now, shiny objects can be helpful at the right stage of wherever you're at in your life or your business. But we also have to make sure that we're selling ethically, and it are the people that are coming through the doors to buy that product, the right person. I don't have an issue with shiny objects. I think they're very nice, but are they right for that product at that time? So when you think about yours, you also need to think about that magical newness. What are you bringing to the table to give somebody hope? As long as we're doing it ethically and making sure these are the right people for your product, you're all good. You're fine. So they've probably tried either on their own or with somebody else or with something else, and it's not worked for them. So let them off the hook, give them hope. Why didn't it work before? And why will it work now, should they choose to work with you? This is like the little cherry on the top. This is what makes people go, oh, yes, finally, something that's going to solve my problem. That's what you want people to feel like. Now, I want to mention this, and I always say this at the end of my trainings. I always say that there are going to be others out there doing similar things to you. It doesn't matter how much you do those 4 previous steps, that micro niche that we talked about. People will be talking about that similar success island. They might be supplying and dealing with the same problem as you, right? There's going to be people out there, and even if you are the first to the table, someone's going to spot you and go, well, that's a good idea, and they're going to join on the bandwagon as well. So you're never going to be totally alone in what you're trying to achieve. But what you need to realize in that moment of comparisonitis, when you're looking and going, oh, there's other people doing other such things, who am I to do this? Why, what makes me different or any special to be doing this? What you need to remember is, the world ain't seen nothing yet. You are uniquely excellent, and you are deserved, you are worthy, and you need to step into that excellence, because people are made to work with you. People need you and your amazing service, your amazing problem solving, your amazing abilities, gifts that you have, that treasure. They need you. You are doing a disservice to the world by not stepping out there. So do what you were born to do, and do it with jazz hands, because that's what needs to happen, okay? So I just want to ask people who are still on here, would you allow me to share something with you that I know is going to help so many of you on this training, okay? And I'm not going to do it unless someone says, yes, you can. So I'm going to be like the teacher. I'm going to fold my arms and I'm going to sit here until someone says, yes, show me, I'd love to see. Beth says, it's going to be easier to generate business from YouTube moving forward, do you think then? Oh, interesting question. Yes, I think that it's always been a way to generate. I just think it's one of those things that unless you know how to do it, then it's always been a bit of a puzzle to me. I'm just going to upload a video on YouTube and why is nobody watching it? I didn't get it, the fact that it was all to do with SEO. And I wrote off SEO as a way of getting people into my business. I personally didn't understand it, but it's opened up a whole new world to me. And I've realized how actually SEO is so closely related to what I help people with in my business. I'm like, oh, you silly Billy, why did I not come across this before? And why have I shunned it? And again, we always do. When it's something scary and techie, I'm always a bit like, oh God, I'm all right for that, thanks. But actually, if we embrace it and we learn how to use it properly, I think it's going to be amazing. And people have seen some incredible results from it. And it's actually a very underused platform because people don't understand it. But if you put the time and effort into understanding it, I think it's going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing new tool, definitely. Perfect. Thank you so much. I've got some yes, you can. So I will move forward, right? And I'm going to talk about the Desirability Factor Intensive. Now, I have launched this once before, and it was an incredibly successful weekend. This time, I'm running it in a slightly different format. So if you're watching from afar and going, oh, it's not that again because I can't make it to Wales or whatever else, this is going to be done virtually. If you are down the road, fantastic, then I'm sure we can work out something in person. But this is designed to be done virtually. Now, the Desirability Factor answers this age-old question of why would people pick me over everybody else out there? Okay, because it's that one question. There are so many coaches, consultants, experts, therapists, service-based entrepreneurs go walking around out there. Why would they pick you? And this solves that particular question. Okay. It's going to help you gain clarity on what makes you a desirable go-to expert in the marketplace, so you can convert before they get on the phone with you. Exactly, talking about very similar things that we've been through in this webinar. It's going to be nail your money-making micro niche. And again, micro niche isn't scary. It's just about that deep level understanding of your ideal client. Cracking your wanted outcome and your golden carrot, that success island that you need to get into, and getting clear on the problem you specialize in solving to make sure that you are the most desirable option in the marketplace. No more convincing. Your conversion is going to become a doddle. Your marketing becomes highly targeted and effective. Writing your content becomes suddenly so much easier, and you're finally going to become known for something. Because instead of people going, oh, she's great, but I don't really know what she's all about, you're finally going to become known. And by the way, I said she, this is open to he's as well. He's and she's. So I want to show you a few of the amazing results that we've had from the Desirability Factor Intensive. And this is Keely. She's an amazing, such a darling client to work with, actually. Really, really warming. She is a relationship coach, and she really is struggling to fine tune what kind of relationship coach. Just like, for instance, health coach could be many, many different things. You could be in weight loss for male diabetics. You could be helping with hormones for people who are perimenopausal. Like, there are so many different variants, and that's where we need to be heading. We need to be specializing. And Keely was switched on, and she knew that she needed to do this if she had stood any chance of standing out in the market. And that's the main reason why she came. She really wanted to fine tune that micro niche, really understand who it is that she was serving. And she came back to that. I now feel like I've got clarity on who I am, who I serve, and more importantly, my message. It's meant that creating content feels easier, and I'm excited and more confident in progressing with my business. So that was Keely. She was amazing. She came out with some incredible results. Her story is absolutely amazing. Her she was with her other half for many years in a very unhealthy relationship, and she started to take some counselling. With in the back of her mind, she was thinking, I need the strength to leave this. But what she soon realised was that she had to learn so much about herself and the changes she needed to make, and through doing that, her other half saw this transformation in her, and it transformed the whole entire relationship, and they now live very, very happily and are still together after many, many years. What an amazing outcome. I had to tell you that story. It's just really heartwarming. And so now she helps other women in her situation to transform their unhappy relationship through really understanding themselves, and helping take them through her signature process. Just incredible. So to transform their relationship from being this unhappy, bickering, argumentative, controlling relationship to really embracing that self-love, transforming the way they think about themselves and their relationship, and transforming the relationship as a whole. Just incredible. Now, second up, we've got Alessia. Alessia is amazing. Now, Alessia came to me as a VA. Now, Alessia had been my VA for some time as well. And she was ready to own her expertise, not as a VA, but what she's actually now come out of is, I think what she called herself, I think she's called herself specialist, where she helps coaches on basically online entrepreneurs, specifically coaches and consultants, to create tech behind their business. She's come out of this this weekend with a brand new membership, which has sold amazingly. She's launched it, and she's really excited about it, where she runs, tech Q&As. And she, for people who are further along the line, she is actually now like a tech project manager. So she helps people to design membership sites. She helps them set up their funnels, but she's really redesigned herself. And something that she said, after barely 2 weeks of the D Factor, I feel like an expert and a true business owner, and I have the confidence in my services and my worth I have never had before. She's happily turning away clients who just want a VA hourly rate. She's like, no, I don't do the VA stuff anymore. I'm not an admin. I help you build tech assets in your business. And so she's really owned those expertise. I'm so proud of her. And she's out there. She's gone off. She's out there enjoying her holiday after having launched her membership, and just absolutely smashing it with clients. Just incredible. So proud of her. And here we've got the amazing Fran. Remember I mentioned earlier on about the Positive Pants? Well, this is Positive Pants Fran. And Fran is a mindset coach, and she helps entrepreneurs who have productivity issues. The person she was serving and the problem that she was trying to solve was completely misaligned. And so her messaging was all out of sync. So after the D Factor, we fine-tuned her micro niche to understand who it was exactly that she was talking to, what problem she was solving, the outcome that she was giving, so that it was completely congruent. And she has now got she says, I've got so much more clarity. And with the clarity, I've got so much more confidence and feel so much better and in alignment with my business. So she got that tweet and she is on fire right now. So I'm so proud of Fran. Well done, you. So this is just a quick rundown of what you're going to get. It's clarity on how you position your expertise so you are genuinely desired in the market to convert clients with ease. You're nailing your money-making micro niche and your quick pitch so that you can communicate very easily what you do, and it packs a punch so people are like, wow, I need to be listening to this person because they are for me. Okay, you're going to get crystal clarity on your ideal client, what they truly want, and how to market to them effectively so you can write incredible content and build your tribe full of the right targeted audience. You're going to uncover your unique edge that positions you as the best option in the market for the particular ideal client, and clearly define and feel 100% confidence in that transformation that you give your clients. So there is no holding back on price, no holding back on how you communicate it, and you're going to feel utterly on fire, right? The Desirability Factor Intensive consists of 2 90-minute intensive sessions to get you absolutely clear on what makes you wanted and desirable to sell and convert with ease. And you're going to get 30 days worth of Voxer access. For those of you who don't know what Voxer is, it's basically like a walkie-talkie app where you can go, Jen, I'm confused about this, or I'd like some help with this, or guess what, this has happened, it's amazing, which I love hearing. And you can chat to me for 30 days, or if you prefer, you can do that via email as well, although I do love a good chat, so feel free to Voxer me for 30 days. Okay, so you've got the 2 90-minute sessions to really drill into that clarity, and the 30 days as well for any other bits and pieces you want to fine tune and tweak. Now it's on early bird at the moment for $1,297, but it can be paid over 2 to 3 monthly sums, either 2 $650s or 3 times $450. Okay, and we can discuss that if it's something you'd like to do. And I've also got a special bonus. So if you purchase this within the next 48 hours, you're going to get a free additional content creation power session on top of your 2 90-minute sessions, where we come up with the best click-heavy headlines and content ideas that are going to see you make a big splash in the industry. I'm a certified copywriter, and writing amazing headlines is something I absolutely enjoy. Not just about the headlines, but coming up with the ideas behind the content, what's going to position you as the expert, what's going to put you out there as a thought leader, all the juicy stuff. This program, just to be clear, is for coaches, consultants, and experts who need to get clarity on what makes them wanted and desired in their markets. For those who are committed to their success and have big ambitions and become a leader in their fields. And it's also for people who are done with the I can't afford it line, and you want to move into a space where people are actively looking to work with you. It is not for people who are happy just to settle with, oh, I'm okay. This isn't for you. People who don't want to stand out in their field as the go-to expert, probably isn't for you. People who want to remain as a generalist and charge only low ticket prices, definitely isn't for you. And people who want all the info and refuse to take action, no, because these things won't happen for you. You can get all the clarity in the world, but unless you're going to take action on it, then there's no point. So if you know you're going to buy this and not take any action with it, save your money, because this isn't going to work for you at all. Got to take action on on the clarity that you find. So I just want to say to you, if you do not get the things that I described inside of this training fixed and sorted, making money is always going to be a struggle, because you're always going to be in competition. What you want to become is unrivaled, somebody who is completely in their own space, who knows with confidence that what they're giving the world is of incredible value and that people need them. That's the place that I want you to be in. And if you don't feel that way, if you're not able to communicate that in an effective way, and if you might be in denial, you could be thinking that you are, but you're still struggling for yeses, then you're obviously not in that space. So you need to make sure that you're communicating effectively in a way that helps people to understand that they need you. Having this knowledge about you, your business, and what you offer will skyrocket your client pulling power. Straight down the line. So not only is it going to make your client attraction and conversion a ton easier, it's also going to allow you to raise your prices and the value of what you offer and still convert with ease. Like, you're still going to be able to say, this is the prices I'm charging, and you're going to find actually you'll probably get more people, because people are suspicious buyers. They're like, well, hang on, if it's at this price, why is it at this price? What's going on? Or this person charges at this price and you're charging over here. Why? What's going on? As soon as you start upping your prices, you will find that actually you position yourself as a more desirable person. So don't be afraid of high ticket. So to jump on this offer, I've only got 3 spaces for this. So 3 people only. And this replay is going to be going out to my entire audience. Okay, so there are only 3 spaces. And so this is going out to thousands of people to watch the replay. So you can do one of 2 things, which I suggest you hop on sharpish if you are thinking about this. So you can go straight over to secure your spot at this link here. So if you just go to my website, jen-hall.com/D-Factor intensive, and I'm just going to pop it into the comments here now, actually, so you've got it. So this is the first thing that you can do. I still want to talk to people who are coming through. So if you want to go over now and secure your spot, you can do. And if we get on the phone and I decide that you're not a good fit for this, then you'll just get a full refund from that. So let me just write this in. D-Factor intensive. Have I spelled that correctly? D-Factor intensive. We're in. Okay, so that's the link you need to go to if you want to go right now and make sure that your spot is secured. And the payment options of doing it over the 2 or 3 options is on there as well. Go onto that page, click the bits and pieces you want to do, or you can book a call with me if you want to have a chat through anything first, and you can do that by going to this link, which is bit.ly/D-Factor call. Let me pop that in there as well. Let me see if I can. Oh, wait, let me edit the comment. I'll do that after then. I'll put it in now quickly for you. bit.ly/D-Factor call. There we are. Fingers crossed you can get hold of those 2 links there, and you can book a call with me to chat through anything you want to talk through before you press the button to go. Right, so I've just given you the last slide here to say, here it is, here's what you're going to be getting. And I just want to thank you all for joining me for the 3rd time for this webinar. We've finally managed to make it to the end. Good old Facebook Live, can't go wrong really. And yeah, just a massive thank you to you all who turned up. And if you've got any questions, do pop them in the comments. I'm here if you want anything. So yeah, just pop it in the call. Oh, before I forget, make sure that if you stayed here from the very beginning through the duration, if you want to be in a chance of winning that one-to-one session with me, completely free, no strings attached, no bait and switch, it will purely be a coaching session with me. Type in it to win it in the comments, and you will go into the hat to win a call with me. if you would like to do that. So if you want that, you need to type that in the comments now to be in with a chance to win that. But you would have had to have been here from the beginning and watched this live with me, unfortunately. So if you've only just jumped on to say, hey Anjali, by the way, then unfortunately you've missed out. But if you have stayed throughout the duration, then you're more than welcome to have that. So just type in it to win it in the comments below, and I will make sure you get put into the hat. Right. Okay, so I think we are done. So just to say, if you want to find me, I'm in my group, The Unrivaled Expert. So if you just type that into Facebook, my group will pop up. Feel free to join. It would be lovely to see you in there. And hey, Beth, she's in it to win it. Fabulous, fabulous. I'm so glad.
Thank you so much for everything we did together in Expertology. I feel like we just went beyond what your program was about, and you just kept pushing me in like the nicest way possible, and it inspired me, motivated me. Feel like everything's great, like to push me on to making the step. So I did it. I'm stepping up. I'm exploding my own business growth.
Jen, I think I have a client. Oh my gosh. And hello, I'm excited.
Hi Jen, just in case you're racking your brain how to get this woman converted, she just rang me back and said she wants to go ahead. Woo! I'm absolutely thrilled, but I wouldn't have been able to do this without you. So thanks so much for all your help.